Hi everyone, it's Leah here again, your host of the Healthy Meal Planning and Prep group. I am actually here tonight to try to help you see exactly how I meal plan and prep. So I figured I'd do a screen share and really walk you through it step by step so you can kind of get an idea of what I do on a weekly basis. And yeah, really just get a good sense of how I do it. The first thing that I just wanted to mention is everything that I'm going to show you is in relation to, again, how I do it. And I follow the 21-day fix or the portion fix meal plan. And a lot of what I talk about tonight will be based on that. So just so you know, it's 21-day fix, it's Beachbody program. And the 21-day fix premise is all about portion control and clean eating principles. And we use these colorful containers to really help us portion out food. And the first part of the program teaches you how to figure out what your caloric intake should be, how many calories you should be getting in, and that will dictate how many containers of each thing that you get every day. So when I show you my meal plan and how I went about figuring out what I wanted to eat when, it's based on a number of containers that I get each day. So I'll try to talk around that, but basically the principles that I'm going to show you are the same. It doesn't matter what program you're following. It doesn't matter if you're not following any program and you're just really trying to plan out your meals. The stuff that I'm going to talk about is really just how I go about doing that. So it's from an organizational standpoint and from a resource standpoint, all those kinds of things. So that's the first thing I want to mention. I apologize if I look off the screen a little bit. I just want to make sure that I cover everything so that I give you all the information. So what I typically do is I think about what I am going to eat for dinner, really. That's where I start because I like to switch up my dinners every night. It doesn't matter whether I'm cooking every night. I might not be cooking every night. I might be pulling something out of the freezer or eating leftovers, but I typically like to eat something different every night. And I personally probably could eat the same thing 2 or 3 nights in a row, but my family likes to have different things. So I try to plan something different for every night of the week. But other people do it differently. Some people make 2 or 3 things for the entire week, and then that's what they eat for the entire week. And that is totally acceptable too, and it actually is a time saver to do it that way. So it takes me a little bit more time to plan sometimes just because I need to take into account the calendar, what we have going on during the week, and what we have going on the weekend. These are all the things that I take into consideration when I sit down to meal plan. So I typically have my calendar with me when I sit down, and whether it's a calendar that I've written on, I have a couple different calendars. I use my phone for certain things. I have a wall calendar where I write all of our activities on it. And I really sit down with that when I start to plan. And I typically use Excel to plan all of my meals. I start out planning for the month. Now, don't let that overwhelm you. You can work up to that. It wasn't something that I started doing in the beginning. I started just doing at week by week basis. But I have found that if I at least plan my dinners or have an idea of what I want to have for dinner throughout the whole month, then when I get to the week by week basis, I can take a look at it at a granular level and say, okay, well, I planned this for this night, but it's not going to work now because we have X, Y, and Z going on. So just because you plan something doesn't necessarily mean you have to stick to it. It's really all it is just a plan to give you something to start with. And so you don't feel like you're so stressed out when you sit down to meal plan. So I'm going to actually share my screen so that you can see how I go about doing this. And then once I'm finished, I will share the template with you. So I told you I use Excel. So I will share my Excel document with my sample or my meal plan that I used. I think it was last week's. I will also share my monthly calendar with you so you can see the meals that I have been planning for. And also you'll see little notes about stuff that I've been doing, you know, like for instance, I know Easter was a few weeks ago. So I put that on the calendar because I knew that I wasn't really going to be able to plan that day. I knew that I needed to have a protein and a vegetable or whatever. I kind of know now what I need to eat when. So I put that on the calendar, not knowing really what I was going to eat, but that I would try to make the best choices I could. So you'll see some of those notes on the calendar. And because I'm going to give them to you in Excel, you can write over top of them or use mine, you know, whatever. So I'm going to share my screen with you now. And let's see if this works, because this is the first time I'm doing this. Let's see, here it is. Maybe not. Nope. I think I have to share my dinner planner with you. Oh, here it is. Okay. So this calendar that you see right here is in Excel. It's just an Excel template that I have, it was like a planner. It was a school planner or something. I don't know. I took it and just used it for this purpose. So I didn't start doing this monthly planning until, as you can see, kind of like mid-January of this year. So it's not all filled out, and you'll also start to notice that as the months go on, things get a little bit more detailed because I started to learn a little bit more about providing myself more details so that when I actually go to plan for the week, I know exactly where things are. So I just wanted to show you the top of this, but we're going to go to the latest month just because it has a little bit more detail, and you'll be able to kind of get a feel for what exactly I do. I think we're going to go and see. This is the beauty of technology. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Okay, so we're coming to May, and you can see that I pretty much have May planned out. The first thing that I do is I sit down and take a look at a bunch of different sources for to get different ideas for meals. And the reason why I start with dinner, as I mentioned, is because I like to switch dinner up. So once I know what I'm going to have for dinner and what container counts or calorie counts or whatever go into dinner, then I plan the rest of my my day. And to be honest with you, I eat very much of the same things during the week at work for breakfast and lunch. I switch up my snacks a lot, but I try to make it as easy on myself as possible when I'm planning. So I try to keep it simple and not stray too much, since at night I'm doing a lot of different things. So I sit down and I look at Pinterest. For instance, I am constantly on Pinterest, just looking at different ideas. I pin them. I have a couple different boards that I pin to for the clean eating recipes that I like to look at. I follow a couple boards on Pinterest. You can also, and I Google things like 21-day fix or clean eating or portion fix or meal planning or whatever you're interested in. Again, it doesn't have to be the plan I'm doing, but just search for that and you'll get a ton, thousands even, of ideas for things that you can do. And I also use Google a lot. There are a lot of blogs out there with people that do clean eating or, you know, that put recipes out there, so you can get a lot of really good, interesting recipes there. And then a lot of times I will pin them to my Pinterest account so that I can just go back and easily find them. You can also follow those bloggers on Pinterest, or even just get subscribe to their news feeds or things like that. I also have a couple different cookbooks that I use with simple recipes in them, and I will sort of fixate them or fix them so that some of the recipes aren't made to be clean eating, so I will turn them into clean eating. I also use, you can see I've got it like marked completely crazily. This is the Fixate cookbook. Autumn Calabrese created the cookbook to kind of go along with the plan that we use, and I have, honestly, I have not found a bad recipe in there. her family is Italian, and she grew up with an Italian grandmother cooking every single weekend, and the recipes that she has developed are unbelievable. They're family recipes that she's taken and created clean eating recipes out of them. In fact, I never buy tomato sauce anymore. I'm always making her tomato sauce. But you can buy tomato sauce, you know, if it's organic and, you know, whatever. You certainly can do that. But it's just so happens that I absolutely love her tomato sauce. Okay, so I sit down and I kind of get a feel for what I want to eat or what I have been, you know, thinking about in the last few weeks, and pinning and looking at recipes. You can also use things like, sorry, something's happening here. Please move this window from the shared screen. Sorry about that. Okay, so I literally sit down and look at all of the different days and try to come up with something for each day. Now, again, don't get overwhelmed by doing this on a monthly basis. I do this to help myself stay organized, but you definitely don't have to do it from a month out if it's something that overwhelms you. Start with just the week or even a day or two and start planning that way. And I take a look at the day. We do the different Beachbody programs usually are Monday through Sunday. So that's why my meal plan starts on Monday and ends on Sunday and then the following week. But when I sit down and do the whole month, I just kind of take a look at it and try to switch it up. I will reuse a lot of recipes just because it's easier to do that. Once you have a few weeks under your belt, you can reuse them over and over if you want. So I try to switch things up so we're not eating the same thing every single week, every single day. You know, we get tired of that stuff too. Although you will see Fridays fixate pizza because I love it, and my family likes it, or they just have regular pizza if they don't, you know, like DiGiorno or something like that. So I try to reserve Fridays as a night where I don't have to cook very much, just because it's the end of the week and I'm done by the end of the week. So you'll see a couple different things. You might not necessarily see, you know, why I chose to do, like, for instance, you'll see on Thursday the 18th, it's Tori's choral concert. Well, I haven't quite figured out yet what I'm going to make that night. I need to do something very easy, and we'll probably have family here that wants to go to her concert. So I haven't quite figured that out yet. And then, you know, I have a work event on the 17th, so I know I'm going to be eating dinner there. I won't be cooking dinner. So you can kind of get an idea of, you know, I sit down and think about what's happening during that week or during that day, and then I plan out what I want to eat. I even go as far as to put the source. Like, for instance, this first day, shrimp scampi with broccoli. I didn't put the source on this particular one, but it is a recipe. It's actually an LA weight loss recipe that I've been using for years. It's so easy to make, and it's not exactly Fix approved, so I've cleaned it up a little bit so that I can make it myself. But in my brain, I already know that that's what it is. And then I've written the container counts here for me so that I easily have them: 1 red, 1 green, 1 tablespoon. That's what the little things mean. A lot of times on Saturdays or Sundays, I will make a bigger meal that I know that there's going to be leftovers, so that during the week I can use that meal as something to eat during the week. So for instance, you can see on Sunday I made chicken enchilada casserole, and there's way too much of that. I mean, Keith DeFreitas, my husband, doesn't eat very much, so we always have leftovers regardless of what I make, but there's always a ton of leftovers for that. So I plan to have that on Tuesday night for dinner, because Tuesday night is gymnastic night for Tori, and I don't really have a lot of time to like cook stuff and put it together or whatever. And you can see that comes from Pinterest. It's just a reminder for me to remember that it came from Pinterest. And then, you know, there's just a couple other things like the flank steak from Country Heat. I have a Country Heat is another Beachbody program, and they have a nutritional guide too. it's the same portion fix guide, but they give you different recipes in it. So that was just my way of reminding myself that it came from the Country Heat book. Here's the page it's on. And then I'm also going to have steamed string beans with it. So I try to, again, during the week, make things as simple for me as possible so that I can, you know, get to it quickly. Sometimes I'll even prep it the night before and not cook it, and then that way the next day all I have to do is put it in the oven or whatever. And then the nights that I am cooking, it's typically really easy stuff to cook. Like shrimp scampi takes probably, the recipe that I use takes, I don't know, 10 minutes maybe. So this kind of gives you an idea of how I plan for the month. And then what I do is, so I kind of get an idea what I want to do for the month. And then each week, I posted about this earlier in the group, that I typically start on Thursday and plan my meal plan for the following week. So I do it at a week at a time. I use Excel for this as well. You don't have to use Excel. You can use, if you Google it, can you not see? Please move this window away from the shared application. Your screen share is paused. Okay, hold please, sorry. Again, I am just getting used to how this whole thing works. And so I switched to a new screen, and I'm gonna stop this for a second. Okay, and then I'm gonna start again and see if this works. Apologies again, just kind of working through this. Okay, it looks like you might be able to see it now. So this is my, I'm currently doing Hammer and Chisel, which is my workout program. So I just title it that so I know. This was last week's plan. As you can see, my calorie intake is 1,200 to 1,499 calories, which just tells me that I need to have this many container counts. So I get 4 reds, 3 greens, 2 purples, 2 yellows, 1 orange, 1 blue, 2 tablespoons. When the higher you get in the bracket, the more of each thing that you get. So it's a surprisingly a lot amount of food, even though just looking at these containers quickly, you wouldn't guess that. But if you dump them out, it is a lot. Some people can't even finish all their containers. I don't have that problem. So the first thing I do, I just reuse the same template over and over and over. And what I'll do is pull up last week. So I took week 6, pulled it up, and just wrote over top of it. And again, I always fill in my dinners first. So I scroll to the bottom, and you can see dinner is located here. And what I do is I refer back to my calendar, my monthly calendar, and I just start filling in the days. And, you know, again, this is just a plan. So you may change up things as you go. It's not the end of the world. Sometimes I plan stuff on the calendar and then something pops up and I'm like, okay, you know, I got to change this up. Or I'll even put it on my weekly calendar. It's happening this week already, where I have certain things for certain days and then I've just had to switch them up as I go, just because for one reason or another. It happens all the time. You know, as you get through this a little bit more, you'll start to see how you can do that quickly and easily. So you can see that I have shrimp scampi, the lasagna roll-ups. This was last week. Decided to have chicken parm, flank steak, you know, all the different stuff for the different days. And I will even, again, go as far as right next to it what it is, like flank steak from Country Heat, page 46. Chicken parm is another one of my LA weight loss recipes that I have fixated, so I already know what that is. The lasagna roll-ups is from Pinterest, and I actually made them the week prior, so these would come from the freezer. I typically, in parentheses, write freezer, but I didn't do it this time. And I visually show myself what the color count is for each thing, just for my own purposes. It helps me quickly count up for the day what I have. And as you can see at the top, the days of the week are at the top and the meals are on the side. I have seen meal plans flip the opposite direction, where they have the days of the week going down the side and the different meals going at the top. I've even seen them at a day at a glance, and I will try to find a template for each of those things and upload them so you have something, you know, no matter what way you're looking to do it. It's really just you finding the best and easiest way for you to plan. And then as you can see at the top here, I remind myself what's going on. So Tori has gymnastics on Tuesdays, as I mentioned. Keith used to have pool league on Thursdays. They're off for the summer, so he's not doing that now. And then if there's something going on during the weekend, I will also write that at the top. It just helps me remember as I'm planning, you know, what I need to plan around. So I plan the dinner, and once I know what the counts are for dinner, I go through the rest of my day. And I typically eat the same things, especially during the week, for breakfast, for sure. I always have my turkey and sausage, egg and turkey sausage muffins, which I posted a video about that already, and the recipe for it. Super easy to make, and I can make them all at once on Sunday or over the weekend, either freeze them or put them in little baggies, and then they're ready to go. And then you can see really the rest of the day. I'm going to post this, so don't worry about, you know, getting caught up in every single thing that you see here, but this is just to give you an idea of how I plan it out. So I do my morning for breakfast. Typically I have the egg and turkey sausage muffin, and then a little while later I have my sandwich thin with peanut butter, and then a little while later, usually before I go to the gym, because I go to the gym at lunch, I have some fruit. And then after that, I eat my lunch, and it's typically, for the longest time, it was baked chicken and salad. I was eating that every single day. You know, you get kind of tired of that. So I plan to have baked chicken because I can bake that all at once and chop it up and put it in portions, and, you know, it's all good. And but some days I have steamed string beans, and I steam them all up. So I get a steamer bag of string beans, put them in the microwave, steam them up, I portion them out, I put them in with the chicken, and it's ready to go. Like, it's just easy. And then this was last week, so I was also having some 90-second microwaved brown rice with quinoa, which was awesome. It's I got it at Walmart, and I can't remember the brand, but it wasn't one that I had seen before. It wasn't Uncle Ben's, but Uncle Ben's has one too. This just happened to be something different, and it was really good. And I also sprinkle some seasoning in it, like some of the 21 Day Fix seasoning, or what, you know, Mrs. Dash or something, just to give it a little bit more flavor. And then I drink Shakeology, and for those of you that don't know, it is a nutrition superfood dense shake that Beachbody makes, and there is nothing like it on the market. There are a lot of shakes on the market. I'm not going to go through it all here. I can talk about that if you're interested in it at some point. But it is, it's a meal replacement. It's a protein shake, but it's way more than that, because it's really a nutrient delivery system. So we can talk about that again, but you'll see it in my meal plans, because I usually have it for an afternoon snack right before I leave work. I have a really long drive home, and it helps with my cravings, and so I'm not eating everything that I see in sight when I walk in the door. But it's like dessert, and it's just delicious. And then I add bananas and stuff to it, and other kinds of fruits. You don't always see it here, but you know, if I have an extra fruit left over or something, I'll throw that in there. And then you can see I have a snack in the afternoon, depending on, you know, what my dinner is. And sometimes it's wheat thins and almonds, sometimes it's hummus, sometimes it's raw veggies. It really just depends on what I have left over for the day. But I really do go day by day, and once I have my dinner planned, I plan the rest. And because I eat the same things for breakfast and lunch typically, it makes it even that much easier. So I really only have to switch up my my snacks, and I always just say fruit, but when I go to the grocery store, I just buy the fruit that I want. Like, I usually buy portable ones, like apples or bananas or oranges, or things that I don't need to do a lot of prep with. Uh, let's see, is there anything else about this? I don't think there's anything else in terms of how I do it. It typically takes me, it depends, you know, if I haven't sat down for a while to do my monthly plan, it might take me an hour or so to do all of this, but typically it takes me maybe 20, 30 minutes on a Thursday night. I like to break it up because I get too overwhelmed if I try to plan and then grocery shop and then prep. It's just too much for me all in one day, and I don't usually have that much time. So I usually plan on Thursday nights, and then either right after work on Friday, I go to the grocery store, or Saturday morning so that I have all the stuff, and then I use the weekend to prep, because that just works for me. But I know that there's a lot of people that have different schedules and they're off on Mondays or whatever. I mean, you can do it. You can plan the day anytime you want. The key is just to find a consistent day to do it and just get it done. And then the next thing that I do after I plan all my meals is actually write out my grocery list. So I go through every single thing that's on my list or on my meal plan, and then I jot down what I need for it. I have my recipes there so I can jot down the ingredients that I need. I always know that for my egg muffins, I need a dozen eggs and turkey sausage if I don't already have it. So it's kind of good because then I can stock up on a couple things if there's a sale, like say for turkey sausage. I eat it every week, so I can always buy it, put it in the freezer, and pull it out when I need it. And another thing I will tell you is, like, the sandwich thins and the peanut butter, I typically take a pack of those things and leave them at work. I have a desk, and I can keep, as long as it's sealed, I can keep it all in my desk, and that way I don't have to bring it every single day. But that's just how I do it. I also use I keep a lot of these spices at work for my Shakeology, so like vanilla extract and cinnamon and nutmeg, and I have a plethora of stuff going on there. So yeah, that's really how I do my meal planning. Hopefully, I don't even know how long this video is, so hopefully you aren't like snoozing by now, but I wanted to really get in depth and show you how I do it. It's really, in the beginning, it seems overwhelming, and you probably will be overwhelmed, but it does get easier. I promise you it gets easier. You find ways to shortcut. Again, I use Excel so that I don't have to handwrite everything every week, but some people do. Some people handwrite or use a copier to copy stuff they've done, and they just leave their dinners or their whatever they switch up every week. You can use Word. There are so many. You can even Google templates for meal planning, and you'll get a 1,000 different kinds. So it's really just a matter of what works for you. Let's see. Let me just check my notes to make sure. Nope, I think I have everything. All right, I don't want to make this video any longer than it needs to be, but I hope this was helpful for you. If you have any questions, please post them or send me a private message, or however you want to get in touch with me. That is, the best way to get your questions out there. And I guarantee you, if you have the question, probably somebody else does. So please do not be afraid to post your questions and ask them in the group, because I'm happy to answer everything. And don't forget, when you do, you get entered into a drawing. So it benefits you too. All right, everybody. Well, have a great night, and I'll talk to you soon. Reach out to me again if you have any questions. Thanks.